Section 78102. The judge can't be with us this morning. As senior commissioner, I'll be leading the court. This is official call to order. We're going to have a prayer. Commissioner Frias, would you lead us in a prayer? Sure.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings you bring to us. We also ask you to watch over this court and all that we work over this day, to be the best for all of our constituents. Please watch over this weather that's coming and keep us all safe from it, and also from the pandemic. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We'll have a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. And we're going to recognize visitors. Is there, like Judge Moore would say, is there anybody out there that just wants to be recognized? That's all we're doing. You just want somebody to say, I'm here and see me? No one? Then we'll move to Commissioner's Court opening remarks. Which way is this time? You?
Well, he's playing that.
I lettered out last week.
Did a lot of work this past couple of weeks. Saturday before last, we did some mowing again. Imagine that, right? Down Corpus Christi Street, some bad spots. The businesses we helped out. Took care of East Houston across the hospital there. From the hospital down to Anytime Fitness, it was horrible, and I had some people calling to see if we could get down there and help mow, get that stuff cleaned up, so we did. Took care of several disabled veterans' yards. Got with Ray on some potholes, and he took care of those. Thank you, Ray. Helped out with Robbie Guerrero picking up illegal dumping. And this past Saturday, we cleaned up down Yar and Slay Road on Blueberry Hill. Helped the elderly lady out on Beltry Street get her yard taken care of. She was unable to do it. No means, no equipment. Not able to get out there. Took care of a man on Emily Drive, a disabled veteran, got his yard taken care of. And another lady off of South Tyler, got her taken care of. Now, next Saturday, there was a grass there on Yar and Slay, where it was like 2 to 3 foot tall, and no one's going to want to walk through there to pick out garbage and whatnot. So, of course, after you go through with the mower, it just went from 1 piece to 100 pieces, but it's bad. So we're going to go out this next Saturday, weather permitting, and clean up Yar, Slay, and Lehman. It's just really trashy. It looks bad. So any volunteers, I'm taking them. Y'all show up Saturday, and like I said, weather permitting, and we're going to take care of that, get that cleaned up. So that's about it. 2 full Saturdays.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Frias?
This past week was just filled with calls for Greco, with the people that are providing our new air for the jail. And they had a couple of breakdowns, but they fixed them pretty quick right away. So hopefully we'll get the sheriff and Ronnie in good shape up there. But talking to your maintenance guys, so that they're on top of it. So I appreciate that. And no calls in the county on my precinct, but Noble Construction is about done with the Elections Administration Office. There's a few items that aren't going to come in till a later date, so they'll install at a later date, like the handicap doors and things like that. So they're just about through with their work. That's it.
Thank you. One of the things that Commissioner DeWitt and I both attended the John Galloway Appreciation Dinner. Was very, very well received, very well attended. Also, I have on the 28th of September, the Adult Probationary Department and myself will be on Corrigan Road to do another litter pickup down through that road. We're focusing on that one. That is one of our Adopt a County Road sites. So we'll be out there. Also in contact with the Sheriff's Department several times I still have an individual who is, still not wanting to go to the trash dump and wanting to use the, low water crossing in 628 for a dump site. I've personally removed probably 10 bags already. There are 3 more there now, that were picked up yesterday by individuals who just walk up and down the road. They picked them up. I have contacted one of the individuals that lives over there, Mr. Torres, and asked him to please, from this point on, since the sheriff's department is doing a full investigation, to have them just contact me when the bags are there, so I can contact the sheriff's department and they can make all the necessary calls and investigations. So, getting with Robbie, also with Robbie Guerrero, he's supposed to go out. Just left Papalote, probably about 1.5 inches rain already. So whoever moved the bags, I appreciate it, because they would have flowed into the next property. So anyway, other than that, it's just been normal calls. Baker Road was finally completed by J. Carroll Weaver, a company out of Sinton. They redid the back end of Baker Road. The county, Ray and his crew are gonna do the front end, which is up towards the residential side of it. They're gonna go in, patch all the holes. The biggest thing I think right now is it's been very difficult to get the cold mix that's needed for the road patching. The rock is fine, the oil is fine, it's the cold mix that you need to patch the road. Ray told me that he has just now started receiving some of that, so he's moving forward on that. Still doing some major drainage issues, one behind the old Roundup back in there, working on that one right out of Skidmore, also working 610, and Corrigan Road also, trying to alleviate some of the issues there. Other than that, it hasn't been a real busy month, so, thank you.
Okay, I will not talk too much about the precinct this morning. I have a prepared statement I'd like to read about some things going on in B County that I think the public needs to know about. And I will read the document. It will be placed in the permanent record. And I've entitled Voting, Commissioners Court 9/13/2001. This document will be read into the official record with a copy of the county clerk. This B County Commissioners Court is comprised of 5 honorable, ethical individuals who all have B County's well-being placed before their personal or professional interests. We appreciate public comment and interaction, but we are not easily intimidated. I received information, and I quote, "If B County ignores this situation and proceeds to accept these new machines, and then the truth comes out, you nor the other court members are not going to enjoy the consequences. Your elections administrator has not been strictly adhering to the law in her record keeping. In addition, this commissioner was told this Sunday he was being placed on notice to table item 20, and this commissioner's court was using an illegal agenda. Sunday afternoon, yesterday, I was also advised the public hearing, the town hall held for almost 3 hours in our district courtroom until 9 p.m. several weeks ago, hosting almost 100 folks expressing comments and receiving information, was not properly posted, and only 72 hours legal posted notice was given. For several weeks prior to the town hall, word was sent out, one was planned, and the legal posting of at least 72 hours follows required legal guidelines. 2 of the primary individuals did not attend the town hall, instead hiring and sending a legal advocate in their stead. Said legal advocate spoke and indicated several open records requests would be filed. Please be advised, elections are structured and regulated under the constant direction and oversight of the Texas Secretary of State. Questions and decisions of our election administrator strictly follow the Texas Secretary of State rules and guidelines. This court will not tolerate berating of our election administrator. If you have a comment or complaint, contact a member of Commissioner's Court. Ms. Warnix is competent, talented, ethical, and follows the rules. I attest we have had fair and impartial elections in B County since Ms. Warnix was appointed elections administrator. The state of Texas recognized there was a need to strengthen Texas election integrity. Senator Colkhurst introduced and passed Senate Bill 598 in its past regular legislative session. It passed the Senate 31-0 and the House 136-8 with 1 present and not voting. It is entitled, "An Act Relating to Auditable Voting Systems Effective 9/1/2021, Required to be implemented by all Texas counties by August 31, 2026. To quote from the bill analysis, "Elections are the bedrock of our system of government. Ensuring that our elections are conducted to the highest standards possible is important to instill faith in the government of our state. Advances in technology have increased the threat of electronic interference with elections, but also the tools available to prevent that interference. Texas is one of only 13 states without a statutory requirement for voting machines to have a paper trail for the National Conference on State Legislatures. Senate Bill 598 seeks to address these issues by requiring a voter verifiable paper audit." Let me read that again. Senate Bill 598 seeks to address these issues by requiring a voter verifiable paper audit trail for election system and instituting a pilot program to use that paper trail to ensure the tabulated results match the votes cast with increased certainty. In addition, in Section 3 of the bill, Section 129.054, Election Code, the bill prohibits any voting system from being capable of being connected to any external or internal communication network or permitting wireless communication. I have 3 points I'd like to make to close this out. And I'm referring back to Senate Bill 598 on some of this. Does this group realize they're asking B County Commissioners Court to knowingly violate Texas law outlined in Senate Bill 598 by not implementing said law? Does the group realize that you're asking us to violate the law by not implementing what 598 says? B County has been accepted into the pilot program detailed in Senate Bill 598. 100% of the implementation costs will be reimbursed to B County because we're starting early and getting into the program now. Please continue to work closely with your Commissioner Court members, but intimidation and berating of employees is not productive. Our bailiff has copies of Senate Bill 598 that he will hand out at this time. You're more than welcome to look these things over in your leisure. It has the bill analysis and the bill itself. Unless I'm reading the law wrong, all counties in Texas are required to do this by 2026. We're trying to get ahead of the game, to implement this and get a pilot program going so that the expense we incur will not come out of yours and my pocket. Will be reimbursed. If you don't get in early, you don't get reimbursed. Thank you. Madam Clerk? Now we'll go to public comment, and I know that's why a lot of y'all are here. And the rules of engagement, as we've talked about before, you're limited to about 3 minutes, and if you're in the process of finishing a statement, you won't be interrupted. The court cannot interact with you. You're welcome to make your statement, whatever's on your mind. I have a list of folks.
Thanks.
I'll go down the list. Mr. Austin, sir.
Is that the same as that?
My name is Austin Brown, and thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. I appreciate it. I have spoken to this court for now the 4th time about my concerns for the conduct of B County elections. The reason that I'm here today is because after reviewing the published agenda for this meeting, the only item related to the B County elections was item number 20, that by all evidence reads as follows. Number 20, quote, "Approve request to upgrade Vista premium contract for the B County election," end quote. When viewed by me on Thursday afternoon, this appeared to be an item necessary to continue an existing contract with Vista SG, a company which is in the business of restoring digital images on remote servers. However, about 3 p.m. Sunday, I received a text from the county judge as follows. The purpose of this, quote, "The purpose of this message is to let you know that the machines with paper audit trails are being considered by the Commissioner's Court tomorrow morning in case you would like to be in attendance," end quote. When I replied to the judge's text, quote, "It is not on the agenda," end quote. The judge replied, quote, "Okay, you can object during the public comments if you wish. Looking at it too, I am not sure, except for the reference to the elections office, how a member of the public would know precisely what is being considered." End quote. When I read that text from the judge saying, "I am not sure how a member of the public would know precisely what is being considered," I was shocked and angered that the purchase of hardware for a highly suspect voting system would be on the agenda for approval under an item that included only a request for cloud storage. It's not like dozens of B County citizens have not been patient in communicating their concerns numerous times before this court. They have visited politely the need for returning control of our elections to the respective precinct judges. They wonder how the report of the 2016 election, which included the results from 36 precincts, changed to the 2020 election that reported results from only 9 precincts. Voters who have lost their precincts have asked, quote, "Was the decision to move our votes and change the system ever the subject of a properly noticed public hearing?" Now, after communicating with this court over 4 meetings and hearing nothing but tone deafness, we realize that the conduct for B County elections and the court's decision-making process is calling for more scrutiny. Early last week, I submitted an open records request for a list of 17 items to discover whether B County elections are conducted in accordance with law, which is law. B County voters are concerned to know the outcome of this investigation. The B County court should likewise demonstrate to the people they promise to represent that they too share the voters' concern by postponing all commitments for changes in equipment or contracts related to B County elections until there is some investigation and explanation of how an upgrade of voting hardware equipment was shown on today's agenda as only being some obscure upgrade to cloud storage with a company named Vista SG. The voters want to know how and who is responsible for this. In closing, I would like to urge this court for their proper compliance with Texas open meetings and open records and carrying out their sworn oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of Texas and the United States. Further, it would greatly improve this county's standing to avoid the advice of people who, by their position, are conflicted or less than objective in their search for truth and recommendations. Be reminded that you have made these pledges to uphold the Constitution and laws for the benefit of B County voters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Michael Keeney.
Thank you very much. I don't represent anybody, and it's not a part of any particular group. And I've had some things that I want to point out that it seems that some of the technicians in this county, I don't expect politicians and lawyers to be aware of these things. Some technicians are unaware of them, they don't seem to know how to do. And these are routine things done by the federal government all the time. They work, and they're extremely important to do. So one was, and I also want to talk a little bit about hacking, about what happens first, what really happens. I used to employ a large number of extremely capable people, some with PhDs in security. They work for little agencies you've never heard of, like the National Security Agency, plus the Central Intelligence Agency. They provide them a lot of technical expertise and some of the technical solutions. I have the secure front-end server for the United States government. For the Internal Revenue Service, takes 85% of the accounts receivable. That's trillions and trillions of dollars, and about 160, 170 million tax returns every year. So that's considered critical infrastructure for the government. Now, first of all, it seems that we have repetitive mistakes like this, and I don't know the details of this, like the county jail.
you have a problem with that, now, the first question is, do you have a warranty clause in your contract? In one of my incarnations of Homeland Security, I had a $100 million contract, to do, after Hurricane Katrina, actually series of contracts, I should say, with Beeville. And, they produced 50 trailer parks plus a lot of other infrastructure on an ad hoc basis. We always had a huge warranty clause. If we inspected the place and it did not live up to, we had very detailed specs. If they did not live up to the specs, okay, they had to go back and do it for nothing. And if they didn't do it for nothing, there's an FBI investigation, which they did not like. And only out of the probably 20, 30 instances of this sort of thing, there were only 2 of them, okay, that ended up in court, and they lost based upon the contract in federal court. So it has teeth. The question is, do you have a warranty clause, number one? Do you have the technical expertise within the county or contracted out that can verify that the work is done up to par, okay? You cannot expect the sheriff and his staff to be construction experts, nor can you expect the county commissioners, but you need to get somehow, some way, you need to get that expertise. I can't say how important it is. It saves you from a lot of embarrassment. COVID, the hospital, I was a little surprised because I heard that there was going to be a phone bank, and the phone bank would actually allow people to call in and make reservations, to get the COVID tests way back in the very beginning of the hospital. I thought that was very good. But then after 15 minutes, the whole system went belly up, and for the next 2 days, from what I heard from various people, is that the whole system was down for 2 days afterwards. Now, there's a simple way of overcoming that, okay, which I told Mike Lillo afterwards. He was first and finally told me exactly what happened. The hospital would not say it, they did not respond. And I was only trying to help them out. You do a stress test.
One more minute, Mr. Key.
You do a stress test. Now, you may not want to hear this, but you do a stress test. This is a standard thing which everyone does, okay? And by doing a stress test, you know what the system can take and what it cannot take, okay? That means electronically as well as phone calls. Ransomware, I understand you had a ransomware issue. I read about in the newspaper. How much did that cost the county? How much did that cost the taxpayers? Again, are there any consequences for anything? I know you had an FBI investigation. How much did it cost the taxpayers? No comment from everybody. Nobody wants to talk about that. There are simple ways of preventing these things, but nobody seems to ever do anything about it. These are real things, and it's about time somebody paid attention to these things. And hacking is not like the movies, okay? It's not a bunch of kids doing it, you have professionals. And what the Soviet Union and the Russians do right now, okay, as well as the Chinese, okay? This is known. We study what they do and they study what we do. And what they do though is they actually have a group of electrical engineers, they have a group of mechanical engineers, and then they have world-class programmers to do that. They form KGB people. And they're extremely good, they're extremely technically competent. We do the same thing. We re-engineer things. You can take something and then you can re-engineer, you can find its flaws, and then you can find a way of hacking. And you do not have to go through the internet to be able to hack things. You can actually do it through radio waves or whatever, as long as you have the corresponding equipment on the other side. And Mr. Stevie, thank you, sir. Yes. Well, I'm sure after 2 minutes you reminded me, so I don't think you want to hear this, but thank you.
Mr. Robert Hackman?
How y'all doing today? I'm Robert Hackney, your local Marine Corps Commandant here, and I'm requesting at this time, we had the Marine Corps Ball coming up here November 13th. We've already put our deposits and so forth in for the expo. We're saying that we can have that waived. The purpose of the Marine Corps Ball, it's not just an event where we dress up and so forth like that. All proceeds actually go to funeral homes, local scholarships. A lot of people don't know that. And every dollar that the Marines make here actually goes back to the community, not for ourselves. Except if I need to buy paint to do brochures and so forth. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, so we have it on the agenda to
On
say
the
that.
agenda.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
FA House,
Oh, I'm gonna yield my time.
Thank you, sir. Smokey Neal.
Where'd that Marine go? Semper Fi, that's Latin, isn't it? Or call the Air Force and find out where we are. Ephesians 5:13 says, whatsoever doth make manifest is light. And I'm here looking for light. What Mr. Brown spoke this morning, the message that he got from the county judge, that somehow instead of the Vista cloud, hey, you get off my cloud, it's gonna be some discussion on HART voting machines. You guys have been very forthright with me. I've spoken to you in here and I've spoken to you other places, and you said, yeah, there's no decision made, no decision made, no decision made. But I get the impression, the distinct impression, the decision is already made. Now, maybe you guys don't know about it, I don't know, but the decision's been made. When I spoke with the election administrator several weeks ago and asked her what type voting machines we're using, that's all I called her. I said, I want to know what type voting machines we're using and what we're paying for them. She said, we're using whatever those HART machines are called. And then she said emphatically, but we're in the process of switching to the Veritas or whatever, to these new machines. I go, oh, really? And I said, and what's the cost of those machines? And she said, well, I don't have that information right in front of me, but I can research it. In other words, it wasn't like future, it was past tense. We are going to. Those were her words. It's my impression that the decision's already been made, which means that you've wasted a lot of my time, and then now that's a problem. Because we spent 3 hours upstairs, and what we basically had was an infomercial for HART. And I've been in sales and marketing for 40 years, and I know it when I see it. There's money involved here. I don't know who's spending the money. I don't know who's authorizing the money to be spent. But I can tell you that voting machines are about one thing: profiteering. They're about making money. That's what they're about. Our former president said we should all go back to paper ballots, and I'm in total agreement. We're a 50-50 split country. It's funny when I walk in here, 50% wearing masks, 50% aren't. This half wears masks, this half doesn't. This half's vaccinated, this half's not. We're a split country. We're at war. Most people don't know that, but we're at war. And so what I'm looking for, whatsoever does make manifest is light. I'm looking for light. I'm looking for transparency. Did you guys know? Did you know that instead of Vista Cloud this morning, according to the county judge, that they were going to discuss HART voting machines? I didn't know it until last night, until I got the phone call. And those are the kind of things, like your statement, Dennis, that's great, and I'm in favor of it, but there must be transparency. There has to be transparency on both sides, or it just doesn't count. We have to be transparent, you guys have to be transparent. And somebody's not in the loop. That's all I'm telling you. Somebody is not in the loop.
Thank you, Mr. Neal.
For the rest of the audience, Mr. Neal, when you address the court, it's commissioner, not first names. Please.
Oh, okay.
Please respect the court. Thank you.
Sorry.
Sally, S-A-Y-R-E, sorry?
There.
Sarah? Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I missed
Nobody
that.
ever says it right, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
I
apologies.
do. Good morning. I'm just here this morning, representing the B County Junior Homemakers Livestock Show. Tommy O'Brien and myself have taken over the superintendent division for the horse club. And so we are this time requesting, for the arena rental fees to be waived in order to benefit the youth of the county. We have several horse clinics and play day events coming up for the youth. We're having one actually this Saturday. We're already in the books, October 2nd and November 13th, which are already in the books also. And so we understand there is a maintenance fee that goes along with that, which we are willing to pay. And I know in the past.
May I interrupt you? We have you on the agenda later, and you can speak then.
Okay,
For
sure.
approval. Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
I have one final speaker. Is there anyone else before our final speaker? Ms. Moreno, Stephanie Moreno, please. Former county judge.
Good morning, commissioners. Sorry I missed the judge this morning. I just wanted to formally introduce myself in my new role. I am now with the Texas Association of Counties. I am the Judicial Program Manager, which means I will be working with Pollock County judges throughout the state, all 254, with their education and resources. B County has been a member of the Texas Association of Counties long before I was county judge, and I know the association provides you all with legal advice and opinions, and sounds like you guys are getting legal advice from all over the place, but I know our general counsel has been there for many years. I think Jim Allison basically wrote the government code and is always available to assist the commissioners. And I know you guys lean on him continuously for legal advice, as well as our county attorney. And I'm here to provide any help that you can, that you all need and that Judge Morrill needs. On a personal note, on a side note, just listening to some of the stuff that's come out of the audience today, I know that these voices aren't the only voices that you're hearing from. And so I know that that's difficult. I know that when I was county judge, you know, we would get calls, but then it was the same people in court at this podium. And I know that those are not the only voices that you're listening to, and that you all have to balance that. And I appreciate the time and effort that you have put into this conversation. I don't think I ever, as county judge, had a conversation that went on this long. And so you guys have had so much patience, and I can see the transparency that you all are putting forth in this discussion and this decision-making process. But if you need anything from TAC or from me, you know, I know that any member of the audience here, or anybody looking on today, could call any one of these commissioners and sit down with them in their office and find out, you know, yes, there's a warranty clause in our sale agreement. I guarantee it, and would happily have those conversations with you all. And so just good luck and God bless you all. I pray for y'all all the time with everything that's going on with COVID and the ongoing issues that you all have to face in protecting this community and making sure that our tax dollars are maximized. I truly feel like it's in great hands right now. So thank you all for your time and for giving me a couple minutes to introduce myself. You all have my card, please use my email or just call or text. Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you, Ms. Morrell. Thank you, and thank you for your service as county judge. Is there anyone else that didn't get on the list that would like to speak? This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. If not, we're going to the next item. Number 7, following items are of administrative nature. Commissioners Court has furnished documentation on each item, and all such items may be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a commissioner or county judge.
Move to approve is submitted.
I'll second.
I do have, on the change of status, for Jonathan Hugh, that effective date needs to be changed to August 30th. It has August 27th, currently, and so that will be changed in HR. And I also have my July financials, if,
Does anybody find out?
questions. No, we did not get them in, last court, and so they, but as you see, if you want to turn to page 5 on our revenues, we're a little down, but nothing that is, you know, that's pending, that is worthy of mentioning.
91%. Collected, what is it?
We've collected 90.45%, as this is July. So it's
We're on
still
track.
coming, we're on track.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Is there any other questions?
We have a motion and a second. Now, you're amending your motion to effective that change date to August 30th. on that.
Yeah, I will amend my motion.
I'll amend my second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 8, presentation, 4-year update on Hurricane Harvey and the Texas severe winter storm given by Christopher Brandt, Executive Director of the Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group. Mr. Willow, I think this is your item, sir.
Yes, sir, it is. The pleas of the court, I would like to introduce Mr. Christopher Brandt, part of the Coastal Bend Discovery Recovery Group. Hurricane Harvey, when it was here 4 years ago, we were inundated with a lot of damages in our community, both in the city and the county. What some people don't really know is the process we went to from immediately try to recover from when Harvey left to now. We're still in a recovery mode. We have a team of FEMA group of over 40 people that canvassed the whole county doing surveys, estimating the damages and what have you. Through that came grant opportunities. Those that couldn't get the grant would turn around and ask help from the Discovery Group. And the work that they have done is tremendous. We have 4 or 5 houses here, I'm not sure, you know, in Be Kind that was built because people lost totally their houses. And so I would like to introduce Mr. Christopher Brandt to tell you the rest of the story.
Good introduction. You know yourself. Hi, I'm Christopher Brandt, and I have the best job ever because I don't have to worry if you're Democrat, Republican, if you wear a mask, you don't wear a mask. What we do is we get people together to help other people, our fellow men here in the Coastal Bend, recover from a disaster. FEMA describes a disaster as either a individual, city, county, or even state that lacks the resources to recover on their own. What we do is we're the long-term recovery group for the Coastal Bend, all 11 counties. And we are a nonprofit. We don't, most of our board is all volunteer. There's only about 4 employees that actually get paid. All of our money, none of our money comes from the federal government. It all comes from generous donors and grants. And what we do is we activate whenever there's a federally declared disaster where individual assistance has been approved. We were founded by a bunch of emergency managers who saw the need here in the Coastal Bend because there's always a disaster, it seems like. And today, as I was driving up through Skidmore, the rain was coming down. I'm like, well, let's hope we don't have a lot of flooding today. We responded in 2015 to the flooding in Nueces and June Wells counties. Of course, we responded to Hurricane Harvey and more recently to the severe winter storm that just happened. What we do is we help people with unmet needs. And the unmet need is defined as something that affects somebody's safety, sanitary, or secure. So in other words, I always say, if you are missing a cabinet, kitchen cabinet, we're not going to replace it with granite, even though you had granite before. We're going to give you Formica because it's safe, sanitary, and secure. We're just trying to help people that lack those basic needs. And the important thing to remember is that this is all disaster related. We don't do urban renewal or anything like that. It has to be because of the result of the disaster. Who do we usually typically help? We just help typically people that are what we call the vulnerable population, who lack resources that to recover. They might be low income, they might be seniors, people with a disability, veterans, or even a single parent. Our group, which is headquarters just down here in Sinton, just down the road, we have disaster case managers who goes out and finds people that have needs and tries to find the resources to help them with the recovery. We also do construction, we do volunteers, we do spiritual and emotional care, and we also provide unmet needs roundtable. The unmet needs roundtable is where disaster case managers can take their cases to a table where different funders sit and try to match those funders with those clients. It's it's probably one of the most important things we do because it allows groups to coordinate their efforts together. The different volunteer groups, which usually are religious or faith-based, some aren't, but disasters are getting larger in their complexity. The cost of helping people to recover becomes harder and harder. So one group might say, well, I have my own volunteers that could put a new roof on this client. And then another group says, well, I don't have any money for labor, but I can pay for materials. So by these two groups coming together, they can help with that person. So with Harvey, what CDRG did, we reached out to over 8,000 families. We ended up case managing 1,000 of them. We did 173 home repairs, and we provided 151 new homes here in the coastal bend. We were very generous. We have lots of relationships with a lot of volunteer groups, and we had a total of 172,000 volunteer hours, which saved us over $3.5 million in labor. And we obligated $9.2 million in construction costs that was here in the coastal bend. Now, when we leverage ourselves with the other groups in our round table, you can see that we were able to actually do even more, which was numbers correctly. They actually, as a round table, we helped 359 home repairs, 262 new homes in the coastal bend, and obligated $22 million here in the coastal bend. And that was from our round table. We work with many, many groups, too countless to mention. What we're asking the different counties is we want to formalize a memorandum of understanding with each county so that we become part of their emergency plans. It's important to understand what we do. We're not immediate responders. We're not the Cajun Navy. We're not the people putting blue tarps on there. We're after the effects, the people that have fallen through the cracks that didn't get it, that we try to help with long-term solutions, not just putting a patch on a roof, but actually replacing the roof and making it better designed to handle the next disaster. All of our homes that we built are TWIA certified. All of the mobile homes that we purchased are Wind Zone 2. And so what we do is very important. And each of the different groups before us plays a very important role, and I don't want to minimize that. But our role is the long-term recovery so that the community can actually not just get a Band-Aid, but recover. So does anybody have any questions? Sure.
What's the percentage? I know that y'all work with different groups. I know y'all help long-term. Before another disaster overlaps this one, what's the percentage of completion on some of these things? Do you follow me a little bit, or?
Well, we started in 2015 with the flood, and before we could even stop, we were getting literally ready to stop, to close down that recovery.
Okay.
Harvey hit. So we went from one disaster to another. Then, of course, we've had the pandemic and the freeze otherwise. Typically, when we stop is when we've run out of volunteers and funding. Unfortunately, there's always some people that we can't help.
Understood.
But our percentage of cases that are brought to unmet needs is very, very high. I would say most of those people get help. Because we're local, they had disaster case managers, an agency here in B County. They had to pull out really quickly and abruptly. We took on the cases that those people would have been left not being helped. Because we were local, we were able to help those people. And each one of those people that we took over, we actually were able to help them with the recovery. I always say we don't help them entirely with their recovery, but we give them a leg up, because a recovery takes many, many years, and sometimes, honestly, people don't recover completely because they have things that can't be replaced. But we want to get them back into a safe, sanitary, secure home that they can live healthy.
We appreciate all you do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brandt.
Thank you.
Number 9, approve American Rescue Plan Act Administrative Services Agreement between B County and Grant Works, Inc. I think Ms. Gracie has my information for us, please.
Good morning, Commissioners.
We did receive, the contract, and, so y'all have, so I had to have some words added because, what what Judge Morrill signed, there was some wording that needed to be added, and,
This is the number 9 updated you gave.
Are they the highlighted ones?
okay, no, this is, let me count.
This is, Kenny gave us this a few minutes ago.
Okay, no, there's some updates, if you don't mind.
More. So disregard this.
There was just, some word adding, some words that needed to be added. Because Judge Morrill signed, whatever Judge Morrill signed, those particular words needed to be on every contract.
Those are the highlighted ones?
So what we're asking to do is approve the updated of the update.
That's a draft, so yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
that's just a draft, and it needs to be reviewed
And
by,
it was basically wordsmith, because there were a few sentences we had to add, right?
yes, sir. Mhm. It's basically what was given to you this morning, but those, page 8 on the copy that I gave y'all is, what needed to be added per the
Okay, so it
Treasury.
meets federal guidelines, meets our guidelines. All we need is a motion to approve the judge to sign.
Yes. Once, Mr. Knight approves.
Pending county attorney, review and approval.
Yes, yes.
Do we have set the motion, Jeff?
I'll make a motion.
That we approve the updates with the caveat that it's still subject to the county attorney's review and approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen. Approve unanimously. Number 10, approved hazard mitigation grant program DR-4332-0279 sub-grant awards for the B County Courthouse generator. And I think, Ms. Gracie, you're in charge of this one.
Well,
And Mr. Willow also.
is there questions on it? This was, submitted during Harvey, and it was not approved, but now it's been, resubmitted and approved this time around.
And I understand that, it's $264,000 plus grant, and we have a little bit of a match, but we have the
We do.
funds.
Yes, sir. It's the court.
I would entertain a
Tuition.
motion to approve.
I'll approve with a question on how much the match is.
That's the match.
$81,000.
What I have, $81,171.
And this is, of course, for the generator for the courthouse, which we have been,
So 30%.
needing.
Right, and I think it has to be done within 20 months by August of, from August of 21. And the only concern I had, and we can't change it, is diesel instead of natural gas. But, do we have a motion?
Yes, I did.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 12, approved Texas Indigent Defense Commission fiscal year 2022 sustainability grant for the Regional Public Defender Program. Ms. Gracie, I think you're on tap.
We're on It's 11.
11?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's right.
The salmon.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm wanting to get to 20, that's what it is. Any questions from the court?
No, I think
On
this is housekeeping. Yes.
All right, which one are you on, Commissioner?
Number 11.
11 is the Savins, and it's budgeted, we have it in revenue, and we have it in expenditure in the Victims Coordinators
Let me
Department.
reread it again to be sure.
Please, thank you.
Approved second contract renewal participating entity services agreement for the statewide automatic victim notification service, SAVIN, between B County and the Prize Inc.
And it is housekeeping, it's already budgeted, and, it's through the Victims Coordinator Department.
Move to approve as presented.
Second. We have a motion to second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Now we'll go to number 12. Approved Texas Indigent Defense Commission fiscal year 2022 sustainability grant for the Regional Public Defender Program. Yes, ma'am.
It's just a yearly renewal, we've had it for several years, it's all the local counties.
Mhm. And it is budgeted, and we have the correct numbers, and they did not change.
We have a motion and a second. All favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. We are on number 13, correct?
Yes, correct.
Approved resolution authorizing county grant program year 2022 Texas Department of Agriculture, Texas Feeding Texans Home Delivered Meal Grant Program for the Community Action Corporation of South Texas. We have Judge Marcus Gonzalez with the KTOS. He is flooded in and can't make it, and this is a time-sensitive item, and I'd recommend we get a motion to approve.
And it's budgeted.
It is budgeted.
It is budgeted.
So moved.
Second.
Does it have?
We have a motion and a second.
Yes, I mean, we do have it budgeted.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, gentlemen. Pass unanimously. He sent in a regrets, but they have a lot of rain in Corpus, they can't get out of Corpus. Number 14, approved non-objection letter in regards to the foreign trade zone designation application for Triga Fire Solutions LLC. This is, the judge's item, Randy Science and, Henry Arisola, BDA and BAT. I think you two gentlemen represent that.
Right, this is, BDA's been working on it. Randy, come on up, Randy, you can help us out.
Yeah.
They're creating a foreign trade zone out there at the, BDA area for incentives to attract some of these businesses to come here. And BDA has put in a lot of money to this, to attract it. So I'll let Randy fill in the blanks.
Sure, just to,
Can
so
you
everybody
identify
knows,
yourself to the clerk, please?
my name's Randy Seitz, I'm the president of the Bee Area Partnership, the lead economic development agency for the county. And just so everybody's clear what a foreign trade zone is, it's a designation from the Port of Corpus Christi to a subzone, like the Fort Chase military base, that allows parts and raw material to come in from overseas without being charged a duty, so that a company can take those parts or those raw materials, assemble them into a product that's then sold into the U.S. for consumption. And once it's sold into the U.S. for consumption, then it'll be charged a duty or a tax. So what this does is it gives them an advantage to bring in these multiple parts or components, assemble them into a final product, so that they're not charged tax for every nut or screw that comes in. They're only charged a tax on the final product that's sold into the U.S. for consumption. Now, it also allows them, if they have raw material come in from overseas and they assemble it into a final product, and then it goes back out overseas to be sold in, say, Europe, it's tax-free. So this gives us a huge advantage in Bee County. There are not many of these zones across the country. So as we're going and competing for more international business, this puts us on a tremendous advantage to attract that business and those jobs to our community. So we would respectfully ask that you
Cost
approve
to
it.
it, the BDA.
Yeah.
That's right. There is a cost to it, and the cost is the application and getting the I's dotted and the T's crossed with the federal government so that our zone is now active.
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. No objection. Passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Science, for what you do, sir. I think we continue to move forward out there. Number 15, approve Iconic Sign Group LLC bid for construction and installation of new county-owned digital sign at Expo facility, subject to the final approval of form of contract for the same. This was the judge's item.
This is a table from prior, and so what will come back is the contract. What I approved for them to do is just go out and assess the situation. They have to assess it first before we can get a contract of what is actually needed out there, because I know that was the discussion last time. They just need permission to go out there, and so I've given that permission, and so now they're gonna come back with a contract. So I just recommend tabling this until we get a
You want to
contract.
table it?
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion to table, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. It is now tabled. Number 16, approve expo request for arena fee waiver for the Bee County 4-H Horse Club for the Bee County Junior Livestock Homemaker Show Play Day and Clinic on September 18th, 2021. Ms. S-A-Y-R-E?
Sayer.
Sayer. You're on point, ma'am.
Good morning. Once again, I'm Sally Sayer. I'm superintendent of the East County Human Livestock and Homemaker Show for the horse division part. We have some events coming up for the youth that involve horse clinics and also some play days that are all going to benefit towards the horse show for the junior county show come January. So we at this time are just requesting for the arena fee to be waived for our upcoming play day on the 18th.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
I have one comment.
We have a motion and approval and a comment.
Yes,
Please put everything back the way it was, and I'll finish.
yes, sir, of course.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We
That's
have a
all I have.
motion and a, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much.
Number 17, approve expo request for auditorium fee waiver for Marine Corps Ball on November 13th, 2021. Commissioner Lenny, I think this is yours, sir.
Yes, and Mr. Hackney had talked about this a while ago, so I, moved to, waive the fee for the auditorium for the Marine Corps Ball on November 13th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 18, update and possible action regarding American Rescue Plan, ARP. This is my item, if you will. We have a committee that has met several times. The auditor, Commissioner Lenny, myself, Tracy, and the HR director on that committee. We've come up with some ideas. I think we're at a point where we need official court action to move forward with some of them. And I know that the auditor asked the Commissioners Court, if you have any ideas, bring them so we can talk about it. The one idea that we feel like we need to move forward on, and I know that our HR director has met with the Brandt Works folks, is essential pay for personnel. We've batted it about a lot of different ways, hours, salaries, one thing or another, and the thing that keeps coming forward is it's hard to determine exactly what it amounts to. So the idea came up, what about a lump sum essential pay? Some of the other counties have used $4,500, $5,000, or whatever per employee. Keep that in the back of your mind. Another item that just came up a few days ago, this commission was in Columbus. His wife had a presentation to give at the Garden Club. I met the county judge and a couple of commissioners while I was there, and they asked me, what are y'all doing with your money? And I talked about essential pay, and they said, man, that's a good idea. I said, what are y'all gonna do? I said, well, we're looking at building a new, this is interesting, a new EMS building for our emergency management coordinator, all their equipment, and have a COVID room in there to give vaccinations, one for testing, one for storage, have room for their equipment. And the light flipped on, and I discussed it superficially with the group. If we were to take the former sheriff's office and jail as a site preparation that needs to be demolished for a new EMS building and put everything there, we could use the money, possibly. And I would like to throw that out at the court, that maybe this is something we'll have our Grant Works folks look at to see if it can be done. It would benefit all of Beeville County. They would have a location outside of where they are now, upstairs in the building. And Mr. Willow, I know this is cold to you and cold to Ryan, but what are your thoughts, sir?
On the new building?
Yes, sir. A total new facility, EMS building, offices, laboratory, shop area, storage, place for your equipment, your COVID trailer, your pickups, and everything else to pull into that. At the old location where the former sheriff's office and jail is, site preparation would tear it down out of this money and then build it there.
I think that'd be nice. Of course, we'd like to be part of the design,
Oh, absolutely.
especially a roll-down projector screen,
Yes.
maybe?
A push button?
No push
Really?
With a no.
Yes, ma'am, please. Absolutely. This is open.
Yeah, the Association of Counties does have an ARPA website, where the commissioners, we just had our legislative update a couple weeks ago on what, and there were several sessions on ARPA and what the money can be used as. There is a lot of discouragement of building new buildings because the funding must be used by a date certain. And if you don't use, if your project is not complete by that date, then you cannot use that money. And so, there's a lot to unfold. Tramer, is our county relations officer, and he is the expert when it comes to ARPA funding and what you can use it, for, and how to kind of get around all of those. So, if you'd like Tramer to come and visit with your committee to talk about some of the options and what other counties are doing, I'm sure he'd be happy to do that. But there is a lot of, there's a lot to unfold with ARPA. I think that they came out with a final interim rule, and they're gonna come out with a final rule here pretty soon. And so we're waiting for that, and I know even with the essential employee payment, there's some definitions on who qualifies as essential, so you guys are gonna have to pick and choose who's essential in the county and who's not, and so there's some stuff you guys have to work through, but CAC has the website. The National Association of Counties was critical in getting funding, and just so the audience knows, this funding from the federal government is going directly to counties. There's no red tape through the state, through any federal agencies or other federal programs. The U.S. Treasury is depositing that money right into the county's depository, and so that's really big because we won't have those delays like we had with Harvey funds and some of that other stuff. But there's a clearinghouse on the National Association website as well. It's linked through the Texas Association of Counties, and so please, contact us. I don't know if they put the legislative update online, but a lot of counties are like, can we build something new? And there was a lot of back and forth on that with the Association of Counties. So they're going to update all of that information, and when the final rule comes out, I think we'll have a little bit more clarity.
Thank you. I know that that's one reason we hired this company, to try to keep us out of trouble. And probably the best thing to do is have this company talk with your folks,
Right.
and then come back to us, because we can talk to them all we want to, but then we still have to go back to our company. So, we might do that.
Yes.
Commissioner, you had a comment?
I'm gonna yield my comment after I get, I'll hold that.
Okay. Do y'all have any ideas that we can throw out to the folks?
Commissioner Haggard, has a water storage tank for Skidmore water supply,
Okay.
so we'll investigate that.
I think what we need to do to make it formal is get a motion for those three items. That way, Grant Works has a clear path forward, and it's not just a committee saying, well, let's look at this, let's look at this. It's a commissioner's court saying, we'd like for y'all to formally look at this. It may or may not fly, but that way we can say, this is the direction we want y'all to go.
Wasn't the sheriff's office designed for command center, EOC kind of thing? If you came to that point?
Well,
The big auditorium?
That was the other,
They could use the, training center if it was an emergency, but this would be a complete new facility. And we would have 3 years to do it, roughly. Anyway, go ahead.
And to maintain it afterwards.
That's correct.
With items for discussion or consideration?
Yes, absolutely.
I have the two that I
This
second.
is open.
I have the two that I second.
Okay, yours was the, radios.
What was that, terminals and,
We have a
scanners
list.
in jail?
I mean,
You have sent.
Have we given that? to
we
them?
have a list that we discussed last time in committee. Do we want to go through each one of those? Because we
Quickly.
didn't come prepared
Quickly.
with that.
Quickly, yes, ma'am, because I would like to do something formal with the court to give them direction, because we can keep meeting and everything else, and if we never say, this is what we want to do, this is what the direction the court wants you to go, then they're going in circles.
Right. Well, that list was given when we met with Natalie. We gave her that wish list, and she shared it with Brandt, I believe. But of course, the first one would be the premium pay, and then Mr. Willow's payroll because for the COVID,
That's correct.
and then the truck for the medical trailer. He doesn't presently have a truck for that. And the microbial computers for the sheriff's office. And then we are doing the calculations for the revenue loss. And any revenue loss could be put back to the county. And let's see, also Grant Works is looking at the comp time. That's, I think, agenda number 19. See if that could be put towards the ARC.
And-
time payout.
Yes,
because
and that
of
is gonna
COVID
be
and things.
between, the time period, that we're looking
Right.
at,
We're
which is
looking
after
at trying
March,
to get
yes,
reimbursed for that, for compound that we had to pay out because of all
yes.
COVID.
We also spoke about, transferring some money to the city, helping them out with some of the issues. And then, one of the last ones is, updating maybe the parks in Hyman or Skidmore. And Mr. Willow would like to see, like a lottery program for vaccination, an incentive for everybody to get, vaccinated.
Okay, before we get too far from parks, what is a park? Those are not county-owned properties.
Okay, well, that was just
I mean,
an item.
we've had that discussion about, we're looking at county facilities, and those are not county-owned facilities that anyone showed me a deed to as of yet.
Okay, well, I apologize.
That's
was
okay.
just
And,
And also vehicles
vehicles for, yes, the sheriff's department.
for SO and,
Right.
and how about EMS? I mean, the emergency management, do they have not just a truck, but a vehicle also? Or is it just SO?
Oh, yeah, I think you did say SO,
Or emergency management department?
emergency management.
Right. because we had how many vehicles for the SO? Was it 4?
Three.
3?
Three.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if I can get on this list, but I would really like for my office to be done like the tax office, because we just have those little glass makeshift things right there right now, and with as much traffic as I have in my office, especially from people from other counties or just whatever the case might be, if we can get something similar to that, that would be fabulous.
Oh,
The
very,
plexiglass.
Yes, because those right now, they go behind them or
We
beside
can
them,
add- we can add
and,
that to the- Yes, sir.
The body scanner for the jail.
Oh, yeah.
y'all need to narrow down that list.
Well, it's a good list to start with.
Yes, because this is just a list,
Yes.
from what you're,
See what qualifies, what doesn't qualify.
Exactly, because right now, we're just throwing things out, and I would recommend that we send this list with the court's approval to take a look at it, see what we can and can't do. That way, we can mark off, and we don't have to worry about it anymore.
The only comment I have about the new building is that after it's done, we still have to maintain.
That's correct.
That concerns me there.
Right now, Grant Works is looking at the sheriff's comp time payout, if it can be, paid out and put towards ours, and also the premium
Okay, and add the, what we talked about on EMS bill to
pay.
your list.
Okay, yes, that'll be the next one. So, and we're also waiting to see if they, we need to open a different bank account just for them.
Okay, for the court's information, the check is in the bank. We
it
do
is
have-
in, the
we do have the money.
it is in the
It is
general
there.
fund right now.
It's not in the mail.
It's not in the mail.
It is not in the mail.
It's-
Now we can talk.
And all these are tentative, they can all be deleted or changed or whatever as we go along. I would recommend that we go ahead and give approval to the tentative list, so they can give it to them and say, okay, the court said, take a hard look at these.
Because then it will come back.
Then it'll come back.
Yeah, it has to come back to
Yes,
court
yes,
to
it's
have
just
any.
tentative.
You want the motion?
We need a motion.
Good. You want the committee?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. No, the motion's there.
Okay, the motion is, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Like the same sign? Pass unanimously. Thank you. Grace, you have your marching orders.
Yes, yes, I
Find out what we can and can't do, and tell them the court is, we're all moving in the same direction.
do. Yes, sir.
And thank you, Ms. Nano, for your information. We will use that. Thank you. Let's see.
19.
Number 19, request for approval of comp time payout for all sheriff's office employees, including dispatchers, jailers, and bailiffs. This
More
one is
housekeeping, we're just passing.
more hard. Okay, good try. Good try.
Madam Auditor.
You're not aware of that.
Even before we're on.
You go to any business in town, all right, any business, you're on. Wherever you wanna work, if you wanna work, you can work now. With law enforcement, you can check any agency they're hiring. We, can't get enough people. We hired a bunch, if you look at your first part of your agenda, we hired a bunch, lots of bunch. And because of that, being over a dozen short in the jail, and with advance of patrol, we incur compromise. It's unfortunate, it's sad fact. I'm requesting, pay out of compromise. It can be used out of the, unused salaries of this last budget year.
The beautiful part of this is, and I'm not sure whether it's the auditor or Ms. Gracie that came up with it, a lot of this comp time is due to COVID because we got people out, and there's a very real possibility, the court just approved to take a hard look at it,
Yes,
that we can pay this out and they get reimbursed.
That's great.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second? I'll second. Second, Commissioner Beeville. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pass unanimous. Thank you, Chief Deputy.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Number 20, approval request to update Vista premium contract for the Beeville County Elections Office. We've talked about this. Ms. Warnick, would you lead us through this a little bit? Sorry, ma'am.
Good morning, Commissioners. Laura Warnick, Elections Administrator. The VISTA is our scan program where we keep our paper records of voters' records. That we, instead of using, we have an electronic copy now instead of keeping paper in the office and stuff. It has nothing to do with voting. It is strictly like when we get a voter registration card application, we scan, we input those into Teams, the Secretary of State's office to set them up, and then we scan that card to discard the actual physical paper. That's what that program is. And they have some new items that they are now allowing us to do. The upgrade to the premium contract, as you see, there is an initial cost. I have enough funds in my Chapter 19 funds and my Fund 35 to cover this initial cost. So there's no outlay at this time. The annual renewal on it will, instead of being $1,950, it will increase a little bit on the about $3,500 for the next year.
So this has nothing to do with those voting machines?
Has nothing to do with
Well,
voting machines.
when I looked at the total, it's $99.40, and that's nowhere near what those machines are
That
gonna
is
cost.
correct, sir,
So this item is worded correctly for what it is.
for what it is.
It is not, and I think maybe the judge was mistaken when he talked about it being the voting machine. This is not the machine. This is to update her equipment on scanning. It's nothing to do with the new machine.
I agree with Mrs. Warnick 100%. That's the way we read it. And then I get this from the judge saying that y'all are going to consider the machine. What do I do?
Well, I think he misspoke. Let's just leave it at that.
What?
And those items, that item will come before the court, and it'll be transparent. It'll say da-da-da-da-da, upgrade, that sort of thing. Because when I read this, I saw the same thing. I didn't see anything about voting machines in this, and I have the item printed out. It's just electronic stuff that needs to be upgraded in her office. So we're not there yet, Mr. Brown.
Okay, good. And I just want to make one comment and she's done.
Please.
Commissioner, just so you know, the cloud system, this company that does this, we have a backup on a hard drive in my office. So we have a copy of it in the hard drive, and then we also, they store it on the cloud in addition for us. So if we ever had any loss or equipment damaged or anything, that we could still retrieve those records. That's what the cloud storage is.
So
And all those data, all that data is encrypted as it goes to cloud, so it cannot be brought out.
So to repeat, this has nothing to do with the voting machine. It's worded correctly for what it is you need in your office.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Do we have a motion?
Well, I have a motion, but there's not enough here for me to understand. It's such short notice. I'd like to table this. That's my motion. However the court wants to act.
I'll second that.
Could somebody tell me what additional information they need so that I can?
Well, we just haven't had time to, we get handed this today, right now. When, you know, I'm gonna have to read this a couple, I'm sorry, I'm not, I just need to read it some more,
Okay.
to understand it more. That's all.
You have a deadline on this?
No, sir.
No deadline, okay. So the time is, we're not pushing time.
It's not a crunch.
That's fine, that's no problem.
If we table, we can put it on the next regular agenda with that.
That's fine,
That's under your time.
that's fine.
We have a
No problem.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the table, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Opposed,
Thank
same
you,
sign.
Commissioners.
This item is tabled till our next, ma'am, could you put it on the next agenda, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me write that down. Number 21, approve planned maintenance and annual service agreement between, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I know you couldn't intentionally do that.
No,
Just one remark, because it needs to be aired now after you made the statement about Senate Bill, 598.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're incorrect about that, because what it mandates, is an auditable voting system. It does not say that hand-marked ballots are not allowed. You misread that. Do you dispute that, sir?
What I think I said, and if I said that, I misspoke. What I think I said was that we're required to have that in effect by 2026. And it is an audible paper trail. And Mr. Brown, they demonstrated it at the meeting that Mr. Carter and yourself were not able to attend. And from what I understand, you vote, and it creates a paper ballot that has your vote on it. You compare it to that, and it goes over here. At the end of the day, whenever it is, they compare those to be sure they're correct. That's what this is required.
Yes, and I saw that, and the problem is, those manufacturers and owners of those machines will not allow you to go into the operating system and audit them. You do not know what's in there, Mrs. Warnick does not know what's in there, and I don't know what's in there. That's the problem, but paper ballots, hand-marked, are allowed.
Be that as it may, the way I read it, we're required to do it by 2026 across the state of Texas.
Well, you can do it with paper ballots, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner,
Thank you. Yes.
I just request that we stop the debate between the board.
I think so. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, number 21. Approve planned maintenance and annual service agreement between B County and Laughlin Equipment Company for all county generators. Mr. Willow, is that yours, sir?
Yes, sir.
It was not a county phone. It was my own phone. The contract that we have, we've been working on this for quite a while. The whole purpose is to get every generator that the county owns on a maintenance contract. Instead of having 5 different contracts, we compiled it to one, and we got a fairly good discount by doing it that way. By having everyone on the same maintenance date, they come down, they dedicate 2 days here. It saves the other folks travel time from San Antonio by, every time they come down, they charge mileage there and back. So it's a good deal. We've used Laughlin since I've been here for the generator at the command center. And in fact, the tax office generator had Laughlin as the warranty work, so they're familiar with that one. They're also familiar with the new jail generator. So I would like to recommend that the county approve that and let's get the contract in place.
It's also budgeted. We put that in the budget.
There's a motion, second.
I'll make a motion that we accept this contract.
Second. We have, second, discussion, sir?
Are they on a monthly, are they monitored?
Yes, they're.
So do we get like
It's
an email
quarterly.
report of each one of them, that how they're performing, or this one's broke, that one's not working, or it's turning off? or
I do
anything
not
like that?
believe so.
Is there
It's
an
not
additional cost for that?
I could research it. I never, what we do is a quarterly inspection on it, and they do a 2-hour load bank. They do a 2-hour load bank. They do an annual engine oil analysis and an annual coolant fluid analysis. Okay. So as far as that, I don't know if that would affect the contract. I'm sure it would.
Just a question to ask.
You know, but, believe me, if, you know, we do it, our generator is scheduled to do a test run every Friday. You know, so, but I know what you're saying, someone to get a text message.
Well, yes, and they're gonna create a paper trail on their side, to be easy to get a copy. One thing I'd recommend in the motion, when I look at these different contracts, we need to add the annual diesel fuel analysis test. It's on one of them, but it isn't on the others.
Okay,
add that to all those contracts. It's only, $85, and I think it's well worth it. It's on the one over here at the, Justice Center. But it's not,
It wouldn't be at the
it's not on the
tax
other.
office, because it's natural gas,
Right.
and it wouldn't be at the, fuel farm, because that's propane.
What about the Expo Tower?
That is,
They're gone. These,
no, I see a tank out there.
Is there a propane
There's a propane tank. out
Okay,
there.
well, I stand corrected then. Any of them that are diesel, we need to have that on. Let's leave it
Well,
there.
yeah, because I think you make me think too hard.
Monday.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. It's passed unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 22, approve Beeville County Maxar Plus proposal agreement. That is Madam Auditor.
It's housekeeping. It's, a vendor that we use for indigent, healthcare, inmate medical.
Move to approve.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passing unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 23, approve order to adopt investment policy. Madam Auditor.
The investment policy, it comes up, for the court annually. What I've, put behind this item is the recommendation, by our investment advisor, Mr. Carter. And it is to, if you remember when we had our depository RFP come up a few months back, we had this discussion about, not using letters of credit and, using more, diversified, collateralization of our depository. And so this is just linking up our RFP language to our investment policy. And so that's what all of it is.
Housekeeping.
It is, yes. And so you have the recommendation and what it's going to go to on the last part of it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 24, update discussion of possible action regarding B County COVID-19 status, preparedness, and contingency plan. Mr. Willow, sir.
Roll your phone down. I got it.
Sit on the bench.
Yeah. So I don't go. Well, as far as COVID is concerned, it's still there. We still have the Delta variant. We still have approximately 5 people on ventilators at the hospital. I say approximate because I haven't checked the record since yesterday. They could go up, could go down. But it is affecting the younger folks. We noticed that, on the news, I don't know if you keep track of it, we watch it all the time for the COVID-related deaths and stuff, but there's been so far 3 fetal deaths due to COVID in Nueces County. So it's still around. We're noticing that we have hit the peak for the Delta as far as in the hospital, and it's coming down. And I'm not going to say I had some paperwork shown to me that this could be a possible trend, because following the trend of 2 months, it goes up, peaks, comes down for about 1 or 2 months, then it goes up 1 or 2 months. So having said that, there is another virus out there coming, but CDC says it's not a threat yet. So, keep wearing your mask, keep your social distancing, and keep washing your hands. That's our best defense.
Mr. Willow, we're being asked about the booster shot. When do you think those might be available and where?
It depends on the age group, but they're available at Walgreens, Walmart, H-E-B, the pharmacy. And the booster shot is exactly the same dose of the first and second shot.
Okay. So it's available now then,
Yes.
if you're in a certain group.
I want to say right now they're talking about the medical staff. I hadn't heard. But to be honest with you, I think if you go in and say you want your booster, you're going to get it. I have not heard of anyone being charged.
I was over there, the other day there, and they said, as of September 20th, right now they have special criteria.
So we're
September
still
20th, it opens up to everybody.
Yeah, my in-laws had trouble getting theirs this past weekend too.
the bond about that. Okay. I'm disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willow. session, do we have anything for executive session? If we have nothing for executive session, we go to item number 25, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We are officially adjourned. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen, for hearing this today.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
So,